Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. It's Groundhog Day. And my understanding is he saw a shadow and we're having 6 more weeks of winter. That's always irrelevant up here in Alaska because we are definitely going to have 6 more weeks of winter no matter what any groundhog sees in the lower 48. Okay, are you ready to take a little rabbit trail with me? I hope so. I'll go with you. It's not a deep one, but I want to show you some of the things I was reading today, and one thing led to another, and I want to show you how that's the rabbit trail, how one thing led to another. Okay, without further ado, here is a share screen. There will be a link to my Facebook page for these items that I'm sharing with you now on the share screen. First of all, I was aware of this. Apparently there's a NIH study out, and here is a mainstream publication from DC Patriot. I've got a link for it. Where'd eggs go? Multiple studies show egg yolk antibodies block the binding of multiple those spike pea things, and it's considered a bombshell report. Okay, so I thought, hey, let's look at that. People need to know not to be afraid of eggs. They need to kind of think maybe there was something a little more going on behind the fact that they have so many poultry places have had to destroy their flocks and what have you. I think we all knew there were shenanigans going on with that. Okay, well then I ended up over at this site. Can you see where I'm saying? That has a channel called Conversations with Dr. Cowan and Friends. I'm looking at episode 58 with an Italian researcher and physician, I believe. And his name is Dr. Scolio. And I just want to read a little bit here, okay? As carefully as I can, okay? All right, so Dr. Cowan says that he talks with Dr. Scolio, who has done extensive research into the question of, can a certain jab result in the production of spike somethings in your body? I think, as you will see, the answer is a resounding no. Now, he specifies that they're not saying that those jabs are safe, but they're going to discuss more in depth about why and how they truly do cause damage. Okay, I'm going to stop there and go back to share screen in a minute. This is a good time to remind you, first of all, as far as official announcements go, my channel is for entertainment purposes only. And I am not a medical professional. I am just simply an interested and kind of voracious reader, former teacher, veteran, patriot, grandma, you know, just a regular person. So I don't give health advice. I don't give medical advice. Sometimes I will tell you what I do or works for me, but it's by no means a recommendation because I don't want anybody to ever make a poor health decision based on trust in me, okay? Please don't. But we're going to look at that a little more deeply, okay, before we go on. And I'm going to admit right here that that video I just referenced to you goes on for 50-some minutes. If you have limited time, I would suggest listening from about minute 18 to 22 for sure. If that interests you, go back and listen to the whole thing. But again, minute 18 to 22 of that video, okay? Now, a little more on the share screen, because I thought, well, wait a minute. In that video, they shared, I already knew that there's never been a court where in evidence they've been able to show that a certain V exists. I was not aware that the spike item is only created in a lab setting. They never use it from tissue samples from living organisms. So it begs the question, if all our information and our concern about spikes is coming from lab situations that are created and artificial. And with so much blood and so many bodies across the planet, why don't they get a few samples and work with those? It seems like it may be the fact that just like the V, existing naturally in the human body seems to be a bit of a problem to prove. Okay, now we're going to look at some discussion board gems that I found today when they were talking about that video with Dr. Cowan. It'll take me a second to get there. If scrolling bothers you, look away. I'll tell you when I'm there, okay? Okay, so here was one comment. It's not mine. It's a cut and paste and only a partial one, so I'm not plagiarizing. And this comment from someone said, there is no virus. Oops. There is no spike, hence no shedding. Both the V and the spike were our scare tactics. The jab is toxic because of the toxins that are in it. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest of that sentence. Now, the second comment that I thought was, because they said, well, why is Big Pharma allowing people to have this fear? Why is all our attention being pointed towards the spike and not other ingredients? And this commenter said, there is no greater killer than fear itself. That's why. The cabal knows this well. They have suppressed all our true health knowledge for hundreds of years. As long as there is fear, death always follows. They knew they could only pull this lie off about the jab being helpful so long before the majority would see through that deadly V lie. Once they lost that power, they then went for the deadly ingredients fear and shedding fear, fear stacked on fear. The final comment said, the jabs are just poison, like maybe antifreeze and other nasty stuff. As Dr. Scolio says, all these poisons get gobbled up by antibodies, really globulins, and collect up in the bloodstream, ultimately causing clotting. There's nothing complicated about it. Now, this article here, here's the link to the original article that I was telling you about, okay, that comes from the dcpatriot.com, because I wanted you to be able to follow everything I was talking about. So I found it fascinating. I started thinking I was going to be coming on and doing a read on are eggs safe to eat, and is there shenanigans involved with the shortage, which seemed to me like a duh. Of course there is. Although Laura's view, I think it personally has more to do with just impacting supply chains and nutrition availability. That's my personal thought. But I was going to read and find out. I want to take it a step further since we went down the rabbit trail of, but wait, there's more. That the spike is only tested in artificially induced situations. And just like the V, they've only been able to claim it exists in a lab setting, but they've never been able to show it. And even more important than that is why. Why? And I really resonate with that concept of they want to keep us fearful. Now, not stated in there, but also is my belief that they know we, being normal human beings, are not as strong when we're divided. So I'm going to ask the cards tonight, okay? Is layers of fear and division at play here with trying to keep our focus on shedding and spikes? And is there other information the universe wants us to know? Let's find out. Okay, universe, what's at play here with the egg shortages, the focus on combating spikes, what have you? What's really at play here? Let's look at some motives and what our personal priorities should be in light of information you provide. Okay, we have the 10 of Wands, King of Wands, 9 of Cups, Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords, Judgment, Queen of Wands. Okay, here's my overall impression of the read. The deep state knows their days are numbered, that things are moving fast, and that they are in the future facing some judgment and consequences for what they've done. And now I'll show you what elements in the cards and where they were at led me to that general conclusion. Okay, so our question was, what's going on for motives, and what should our priorities be based on information shared in these cards? Okay, and we're getting an acknowledgement here, first of all, with the 10, that we're coming towards the end of an era and a situation going on, and that a lot of hard work is going into that. You know, whether it's simply just the hours I put in every day trying to read on topics and have a little information about them, so that it's intuitive information, not just information and not just intuitive. And then we're getting clarified by the King of Wands here, telling us a little bit more about the situation and our question about it. King of Wands is a card of vision. Okay, so we are getting kind of a nod here that it's good to be looking not just at situations, but at manipulations of our emotions and our interactions with others. Okay, both of these are wands. Wands are a fire sign, which means it's fast moving and usually takes days to come to fruition rather than years or months. So that's good to know about those. You'll see a lot of wands, which are actions, and swords, which are justice, as well as the written and spoken word. Cups tend to talk about emotions. In the past, the deep state and pharma has counted on and been able to count on the fact that we could be led and herded where they wanted us to go, or where they wanted us to fear or to be divided by our emotions. And fear was one of the most potent tools they had. As more of us are waking up to the fact that we don't want to be led around by the nose with our emotions, and saying that powerful phrase, I refuse to live a fear-filled life. Those few words are so powerful. That's when you know that you don't need to feel fear to make smart choices, to be sensible, to be proactive. You don't have to have fear mixed in with that. So we're rejecting the fear. So the days of that being such a happy circumstance for them are gone. Part of the reason is you and I and the white hats and the alliance. And I say you and I because all of us that are awake, like I said, even just by observing these events with open eyes and open hearts, we are part of a quantum army who just by observing are helping to make a change. If you never thought you had any personal power, believe me, people, we do. We do. Okay. It's causing a change. Okay. Now, again, I saw this, that they know judgment is coming. Here's the Queen of Swords, and she is right here. She's making the judgment. I mean, she is about justice. And when she shows up, she's very objective. Okay. Clear thinking. She's not going to get ruled by her emotions. She's going to be clear and objective. And they know that that is going to result in some judgment for them. This card indicates with these the background here that there's no escaping judgment. Everybody is going to face it at some point. Okay. And it keeps showing up about questions about the deep state. It's what they fear, it's what they face. And it's high time. Queen of Wands is our lesser important advice card here. Queen of Wands is telling us that we can be optimistic, that we are claiming our power, we are claiming our autonomy, we are learning to look at where we're being manipulated. I do think we are being manipulated, again, divide us further about, have we had a jab or 2 jabs or no jabs? Have we, so that it's not just gender, it's not just, race, creed, color, orientation. It was one more way to divide us. And we need to remember, no matter what gender or orientation or color hue we are, or mix of colors or whatever, we are one human race. And we are working hard to get our sovereignty back and our freedom back. Let's get a few more cards to give us a sense of what this situation is. And again, moving forward, what our game plan should be, how we should be dealing with this information. We have the star showing up, as well as, the tower. Now, I like the tower because, again, this card read is kind of telling us that the deep state is in trouble. Yeah. As judgment approaches, their tower moment approaches hand in hand. But we have the reassurance here that we have some divine and off-world help, helping us to be clear thinking and balanced, and nurturing to one another. The Emperor, the ultimate white hat card. Okay. And then we have the Two of Wands. Now, I think this is actually just a beautiful little card. He's looking at the world in a new way. And we are soon going to be able to do that because of a lot of hard work that's happened, some of it behind the scenes, and some of it very strategically with these 5D chess games that have gone on with what have you. I personally don't care if the white hats include members of what used to be self-proclaimed elite, as long as what they are is wanting the best for humanity and moving forward. I've heard some of that rumor too, and I don't care. I just don't care. And I hope you don't either. I say that because if your objective is for humans to be free and able to reach their full potential, even if you get a little satisfaction that you were enlightened and evolved beyond competitive other families, I don't care. If your true objective is our freedom, our sovereignty, and our restoration, we're on the same team, and that's not going to change. Okay, so moving forward, let's recap. We were looking not just at eggs, not just at chickens, and shortage is the same, and not just were eggs good for you, because yes, they are. In fact, they may have some benefits, but we also looked at the fact that we haven't had clear information about how much stuff we're told to concern about is only occurring in lab settings and not across, occurring naturally and replicating naturally in living organisms. So we know we've been lied to. That's no secret, and that continues. Okay. That doesn't mean not to take the supplements that you've grown to trust or that your research has told you to take. I'm going to still take the supplements that I take, ones that boost my immune system and ones that make up for, imbalances in my diet, or the fact that some of my food doesn't have the nutrients that it would have because of, overproduction and what have you. Okay. I'm still going to take those supplements. But what I'm not going to do, I'm going to stop worrying about who around me has had a medical procedure and not. I'm not going to worry about any more than I would worry about if someone's germs from a cough got on me. I'm not going to worry about if they've shed it on me. I'm not. I'm going to take my supplements. I'm going to live in faith, and I'm going to live in joy. And I am going to be part of one human race, not a splintered race. No more. No more. Those days are done. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it very, very much. I can't believe so many of you are willing to spend some time with me, and it's amazing, and it's appreciated. And I know you appreciate me too. I know it's a two-way street. There's a lot of energy flow going back and forth here, and it's beautiful. So until next time, I wish you love and light and all things bright. And just as a little FYI, this has nothing to do with the reads. If you want to click and go on something else, you can. As you know, I'm getting ready to move, and I'm trying to keep the background looking as typical as possible. So I have someone that's going to handle the moving sale type of thing after I take off. And I've got a bedroom where I sold furniture, and that's kind of my staging area. But I also had an unexpected medium-sized home repair that had to happen. So over the next couple of days, I will try to be on my usual schedule as far as putting content up. But if I'm not, don't worry about me. It's just that while saws and stuff are going in the background and I'm having to work with contractors, I may not be able to create content like I'd like to. I hope I can. I'm planning to, they're not going to work into the evening, so it should still happen. But if it doesn't, don't worry about me. Okay. And in the meantime, just know that I spent enough years working a couple jobs, and one of those for several years, I worked at a big box store. It was a handyman store. Well, I'm not going to say it by name. And that I learned how to shop around for quality help at a reasonable price and what have you. So while I can't do the work myself, I do know how to contract for it, and I do know how to get competitive pricing and value for my dollar. So anyway, wish me luck on this. Until next time, like I said before, love and light and all things bright. Bye.